Morning, everyone. After a few weeks hiatus where KXAN Live was covering aspects of the Ken Paxton impeachment trial, we are back to resume our regular series where we take an in-depth look at the Raul Meza case. So just a quick recap, if you guys have forgot. Raul Meza is 62 years old, a convicted murderer, and is now facing charges in the 2019 death of his old neighbor from East Austin, Gloria Lofton, as well as the 80-year-old Jesse Fraga. The Austin Police Department arrested him in May after he called and confessed to Fraga's murder, and also implicated himself in the death of Gloria Lofton. Today, with the help of Bree, we are going to be recapping some of Meza's early life and his early criminal history. This starts when he was born in the 1950s, and we'll conclude with the murder of 8-year-old Kendra Page.
Hi guys, I'm Brianna Hollis. I am KXAN's crime reporter. Sam and I have both been covering this story extensively for our website and for on air. Here's some video from a story I did a few months ago, I guess now. This case has been going on for a long time. It has an endless supply of depth that we get to look into, and we're going to look into some of that for you today. As Sam mentioned, we're going to look at his early history. In that video, you saw some newspaper clippings, and that is where we got the real depth of his early childhood, what's been called a troubled history. And Sam, let's go through some of that right now. So this is all per archived Statesman newspapers. According to them, Meza began to use drugs at the age of 8 years old, and he was first arrested in 1973 when he was just 13 on shoplifting and burglary charges. And Sam, these were new. You know, I know you and I have talked about the aggravated assault charge, which we're going to get into in a little bit, but these details kind of we uncovered after we, originally started recapping his case. So yeah, 8 and 13, young, of course, to get involved with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. We got the press release from APD that they were looking for this man, and we got a couple of reports from viewers that recognized him from the previous coverage that we've done with him over the years, again spanning back to the 1970s. So do you want to just get into some of his early life? What was Meza like as a kid?
So his father died when he was young, and his early childhood life has been described as troubled. And after he was arrested on those shoplifting and burglary charges when he was 13, the following year he was actually accused in a fire at Austin Junior High School. And Sam, this part was kind of crazy. Somebody just reached out to me on Facebook a couple of weeks ago saying that she knew him at this time and was, just giving me a little more information about it. I know you get reached out on social media about this case too, so always interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's just a shout out. Like, if anybody has interacted with Meza over the years, we've also got some Facebook comments. We can't confirm this obviously, but somebody who said that they shared a cell with him at some point as well. I mean, he's been in Austin for decades, so it's no surprise that people have interacted with him over the years.
Yeah, and after that, the fire sent him to Giddings State School, which is a juvenile correction center, and according to those archived papers, while he was there, he ran away and broke into a store, but still, and this is really interesting, and this is going to be a theme that we get into throughout this KXAN Live series, a caseworker still wrote that Meza was, quote, working on problems in a mature and realistic fashion, even though there was proof that he had escaped state school and broken into a store. And about 6 months after that, after he was released, partially because of what that caseworker said, he enrolled at Travis High School and failed every single class. And the following year, this is what Sam and I have mentioned previously, so this would have been when he was 15. In 1975, Meza and 3 others robbed a convenience store and shot the clerk in the back. The clerk did end up surviving, but Meza was charged and ultimately convicted of aggravated robbery. Again, he was 15 years old, and according to those archived papers, he got out on parole less than 5 years into his 20-year sentence for that, started working as a hairdresser. But the most interesting and kind of chilling fact when it comes to this case is that when he was on parole for that, that is actually when he murdered Kendra Page.
Right. And so you and our investigative reporter, Dalton Huey, actually were able to track down another person who dealt with him, and this was his therapist. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And it was a story where we really wanted to take a look at the psychological nature of people who have committed and are charged with crimes like this. You know, what really contributes to this violent behavior? And before I get into his therapist that we interviewed, I want to talk about something else that was in one of those archived papers. Going back to our old article here, there was a psychologist who wrote in court records, according to a 1982 Statesman article. He said, "He doesn't appear to expect much of himself or his life and seems a strong candidate at this point for a life of recidivism or suicidal inclinations." So pretty strong comment from that psychologist there. And then Dalton and I were working on a story about that. We ended up speaking with a professor in Houston about, you know, just some third-party insight. She's not connected to the case at all, but just talking about how being involved in crime at a young age can contribute to repeated violent behavior. But yeah, now back to this crazy interview that we had with his therapist. So typically, you know, we're not able to speak to therapists about things that they talk to their clients about. But Dalton had found her, talked to her, and she said that the situation was so chilling and it stuck out to her so much that she felt compelled to speak about it. She hasn't been a licensed therapist for 10 years, and she wanted to talk about it. Let me take a quick look.
Do you have a sense that therapists obviously encounter all kinds of people? Was this sort of remarkable that that Meza really stuck out in her head throughout the years? Yeah,
absolutely, especially given the types of people she dealt with. She works in the criminal justice system as a psychologist. So she's dealing with people, other violent people, but still this person stood out to her. So we did interview her, so we wanted to show you that story that has some of that interview in it.
Great. Are you ready to play that right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great.
That's what I learned meeting Raul, was that I was in the world of a completely different animal.
In connection with 2 murders and believe he may be linked up to 10 more.
I was watching the news, and I remember his picture coming on.
Vivian Lewis says she met Raul Meza working as a therapist within the criminal justice system.
The parole board had asked me to do an assessment, an evaluation of his danger to the community.
She conducted that assessment while Meza was in prison for the murder of 8-year-old Kendra Page.
What was he like? He had what I would now call a false charm. He was very engaging, talkative, willing to explicitly describe his crime against Kendra.
Lewis retired almost 10 years ago. Her interview about Page's murder still gives her chills.
Iciest, most blood-curdling interview I had been in.
Risk factors for violence are the factors that make a person more likely to commit the violence.
Dr. Nancy Zars, a forensic psychologist, can't comment on Meza's case directly, but she gave us insight on how certain characteristics make someone more likely to commit crimes.
And that is young age, male gender, past history of violence, antisocial / psychopathy, substance abuse, and serious mental illness.
For Meza, some of these risk factors started when he was just a kid. According to archived newspapers, Meza started using drugs at just 8 years old. Another psychologist quoted in these old articles called Meza, quote, an intensely lonely youngster. These same archives also unveiled these details about Meza's criminal history. Police first arrested teenage Meza in 1973 on shoplifting and burglary charges. The next year, authorities accused him of arson after a fire at a junior high school. That incident sent him to Giddings State School, a juvenile corrections facility where he reportedly ran away. Then, in 1975, when Meza was 16, a judge sentenced him as an adult to 20 years in prison for aggravated robbery in the shooting of a convenience store owner. While on parole for that crime, he murdered Kendra Page.
The fact that somebody's coming in and out of prison indicates that there is repeated illegal behavior. Oftentimes, that behavior tends to accelerate over time. So their crimes tend to get a little bit more severe.
He's a deadly person, and he has been since adolescence.
In 1993, after Meza got released from prison after killing 8-year-old Paige, he tried to convince the public he had changed.
The most impacting thing about Raul was how engaging he could be.
Upon revisiting her time with Meza,
Listen to my voice crack.
Lewis kept coming back to the same thought.
I was dealing with a psychopath.
With digital investigator Dalton Huey, Brianna Hollis, KXAN Investigates.
Wow, so it really sticks out that he was saying that, that she, Vivian Lewis, was saying that this was one of the most blood-curdling clients she ever had, and one that never really slipped away from her.
Yeah, and honestly, and Sam and I were talking about this before we started recording, there were so many things that she said in that interview that we couldn't air because they were so dark and so disturbing, and we just want to reiterate again, our hearts absolutely go out repeatedly to the family of Kendra Page. This was just such a horrific crime.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see that some people have joined us midway through. This video will be clipped and put into the story that's now on KXAN.com. Again, we took a few weeks off and we just started this series, but we will be back most weekly when we get a chance to unpack sort of the more complicated aspects of this case. Some things to look forward to. We will be going over the handling of Raul Meza over the years, the handling of some of the DNA, as well as the fall or what happened after he was convicted of Kendra Page's murder. So stay tuned. Most Thursdays at around 10:30 a.m. we will be here. Bree, thank you so much for joining me today. This was fun.
Absolutely.